My dear students, so I am here with the new topic, that is demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. Okay, so first type of inflation we have demand pull inflation. So the inflation originating from the forces of demand. Okay, so we can say that inflation originating from the forces of demand is called demand pull inflation. Okay, so when the inflation originating from the forces of demand is called demand pull inflation. Now I will give you the explanation. When there is an excess demand for various types of goods and services in the market. So when there is an excess demand, and if the supply of a commodity is less, or the supply is not able to fulfill the needs of the people, in that case what will happen? The demand will be greater than supply. Okay, demand will be greater than supply. So when demand is greater than supply, what situation will arise? The situation of excess demand will arise. And when there is an excess demand for a commodity in the market, obviously what will be the impact on the price? The price of a commodity will increase, and price increases. Once again, when demand is greater than supply, what situation will arise? The situation of excess demand will arise. And when there is an excess demand for commodity in the market, obviously it has a great impact on the price, and the price will increase. So when price rises due to excess demand for a commodity in the market, and the inflation takes place, and that type of inflation is called demand pull inflation. Okay, now next we have cost push inflation. So this cost push inflation, okay, this cost push inflation arises due to a rise in cost of production. When inflation takes place due to a rise or increase in the cost or cost of production. Okay, inflation takes place that type of inflation is called cost push inflation. So once again, when inflation takes place due to rise in the cost or the cost of production, then that type of inflation is called what? Cost push inflation. Now I will give you the explanation of this cost push inflation. So here you have to understand how the cost is increasing, or how the cost increases. So this cost increases due to various reasons, and one of the important reason is wages. Second reason could be input prices. Third reason could be increase in taxes, etc. So there are the various reasons for rise in this cost of production. Now first one we have taken example of wages. Now here you have to understand how that wages leads to increase in the price, and that price causes inflation. That type of inflation called what? Cost push inflation. So when the workers are demanding higher wages, okay, when the workers are or the laborers are demanding higher wages, so when employers are paying them higher wages, whatever they have demanded, obviously they will not sell the commodity according to the previous price. So what they will do, they will also increase the price for the goods and services. Okay, so when wage rate increases, they will include that increase in wages in that price or the cost of production of that commodity. So when wage of laborers increases, obviously the price obviously the cost of cost of production increases. And if the cost of production increases, the producer will not sell the commodity at the previous price, they will also increase the price. So what is happening here, the price of goods and services, price of goods and services also increases, and due to that increase in price, inflation takes place. That type of inflation is called cost push inflation. Now second reason, when input prices, whatever the inputs used in the of production process, if their prices or the price of raw material increases, then what will happen, the cost of production will rise, because the producer will not sell the commodity at the previous price if they are paying higher prices for the inputs, or if they are purchasing the inputs at the higher prices, so they will also increase the price. Now when price increases, the inflation takes place. That type of inflation is called cost push inflation. Similarly, if the government increases a tax rate, or if government imposes higher rate of taxation to the producers will not sell the commodity if they are paying higher tax to the government. Obviously they will shift the burden of that tax to the consumer, so they will increase the price of goods and services. So when the price of goods and services increases, the inflation takes place. That type of inflation is called what? Cost push inflation. Now if you understand the concept of this demand pull inflation and cost push inflation, you can easily differentiate between these two, because this is very important question. They may ask you in 3 marks question. Differentiate between demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. So what will say? Demand pull inflation arises due to excess demand of commodity. Cost push inflation arises due to rise in the cost of production. So you can give the explanation also. In the case of demand pull inflation, there is a excess demand situation, and due to that excess demand, what will happen, the price will increase, and whatever the inflation takes place, that type of inflation is called demand pull inflation. Here you can see that in the case of cost push inflation, the cost of production increases, and that cost of production increases due to a rise in the wage rate, or due to higher wages, or a rise in the price of inputs. The cost of production increases, and when cost of production increases, the producer will not sell the commodity at the previous price, they will also increase the price. And because of that increase in price, if inflation takes place, that type of inflation is called cost push inflation. Okay, next concept we have a value. So this is also a basic economic concept, a value. So what is value? The value of a commodity refers to the Okay, now we have to understand the concept value. So value of a commodity refers to the valuation placed by a household for consumption of a commodity. So how much how much value we have placed for the consumption of that commodity. So that concept is called value. What is value? The valuation placed by a household. Okay. Now this value of commodity, it is expressed in the terms of, okay, it is expressed in the terms of consumption value. We are talking about the consumption value of a commodity. Now this value has two different meaning. Okay, this value has two different meaning. It has number one, a value in use, and number two we have value in use, and we have a value in exchange. Now first we will try to understand this value in use. Now this value in use refers to the consumption value. Okay, it refers to the consumption value of a commodity. So this consumption value is it expresses the utility. Okay, this consumption value expresses the utility derived from the particular type of commodity. So when we are consuming anything, and if that commodity is giving us a maximum satisfaction, then that is called value in use, because that commodity have very high consumption value. I will give one example. Suppose take water. Now in the case of water, the consumption value is very high. Okay, consumption value is very high, so we can say that the utility derived from this water is maximum. It gives maximum satisfaction, because water is a necessity for us. Okay, in order to survive, we need this water. Okay, water is very important for us, so the value in use is very high for this commodity water. Okay, now next one we have a value in exchange. So the second one we have a value in exchange. Now value in exchange refers to the market value. Okay, it refers to the market value. Okay, market value. So what is the market value of that commodity? And in the second case, we can say that it is not necessary that the commodity whatever we are talking about in this exchange have very high value. That commodity may not be of a very high value, only the price may be high. Okay, so when we are talking about this value in exchange, it refers to the market value of a commodity. Now this value in exchange can be measured in two terms. Okay, this value in exchange can be measured in two terms. One is called nominal value, and the other one is called real value. Okay, before starting this nominal value and the real value concept, I want to give one example related to this value in exchange. Now when we measure the value of any commodity, and if the price of that commodity is very high in the market, then that is called value in exchange. So let's take example of diamond. Diamond is the best example of this value in exchange, because the market value of this diamond is very high. Okay, the price or the value of this diamond is very high, though diamond may not be useful as much as compared to that of water. Okay, because without diamond also we can survive, but without water our life will become very difficult. It will be difficult to survive. So the value in use for this water is very high, whereas a value in exchange for this diamond is very high. Now we'll move to this. This value in exchange can be measured in two terms. One is called nominal value and the other one is called a real value. So what is this nominal value? When a nominal value means when the value of a commodity measured in the terms of monetary value. Okay, when the value of a commodity measured in monetary terms or money value. Okay, when the value of a commodity is measured in the money terms or measured in the terms of prices, that is called what? Nominal value. Suppose see the price of 1 kg of rice. Suppose say 1 kg of rice price is of say rupees 50. So this rupees 50 is the money value for 1 kg of rice. So we can say that this is a nominal value. Okay, nominal value. Now real value. Real value means it is measured in the terms of purchasing power of one commodity with the other, or we can say that when we are measuring the price of one commodity in the terms of other, then that concept is called what? A real value. Okay. Once again, real value when the price or the value of when the value of one commodity is measured in the terms of other commodity, then that concept is called a real value. Okay. Now, as I said in the previous example, 1 kg of rice cost is rupees 50. So when we measure 1 meter, suppose 1 meter of clothes, when 1 meter of cloth is exchange with, suppose say 5 kg of rice. That means 1 meter of cloth, the value of cloth is measured in the terms of 5 kg of rice. So here we are measuring the value of one commodity in the terms of other. So that concept is called what? A real value. Okay. I hope you understood the concept of this real value and nominal value. Nominal value means when the value of commodity is measured in a monetary terms, money terms, or measured in the terms of price. Whereas real value means when the value of one commodity is measured in the terms of other commodities. Suppose say cloth. The value of cloth is measured in the terms of rice. So here we are taking two commodities. So that can be considered a relative price. Okay. So here we are measuring the value of one commodity in the terms of other commodity. So that concept is called what? A real value. Now, one more cases I will discuss here. We have seen that in the case of value in use and value in exchange. We have taken here water, and in the case of value in exchange we have taken the example of diamond. Now we know that water is in an adequate amount in our nature, whereas a diamond is very scarce, but water is more useful than that of a diamond. So here this concept can be considered as water diamond paradox. Water diamond paradox means water is easily available in our nature, okay, so its price is less but it is very useful to us, whereas diamond is very scarce in our nature but value in exchange is very high in the market. So these two concepts can be considered as water diamond paradox. One is very useful but that are insufficient amount in our nature, so that price is very less, whereas the other commodity diamond we have that are very scarce in our nature and the value in exchange is very high for that commodity. So this controversy or this concept can be considered as a water diamond paradox.